all the fans love this podcast. On this week's episode of Horror Hole, I'm Wyatt, and who is here with me today, as always?
And I'm the boy who loves Mandy Lane the most, Cody Briscoe.
Ooh. Yeah, and we're here to talk about All the Boys Love Mandy Lane, a certified Cody movie.
Absolutely.
Which we talked about a little bit, I think, in the previous episode when you brought it up.
Mm-hmm.
That it was like, oh, this is one that you like talked about and like watched at some point around the time, like 10 years ago or whatever.
Yeah, there was a brief period of months where I was obsessed with this movie after I discovered it.
Yeah.
It was when I was on Tumblr heavily.
Mm. As what was your hot wings on Tumblr?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good stuff.
I don't know where that came from, that name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, you whenever I asked, you just said I like hot wings. So do you like? What's your favorite? You like hot wings, so like, what's your favorite flavor in seasoning or whatever for hot wings?
I love good mango habanero for hot wings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Or
yeah, I'm
garlic parmesan.
Those are good.
Mm-hmm.
I like the classic buffalo wing.
Yeah.
If I'm in Buffalo, and don't go to the Anchor Bar, by the way, because that's worse than Duff's, which is the iterated, better version of the buffalo wing in Buffalo. Very, very tasty buffalo wings. Especially like living where I live, and it's they find like the oldest, gamiest fucking chickens imaginable to like get all of the wings from, because some of these pizza places
withered, emaciated chickens.
Yeah, just like truly dreadful chicken wings, but they're very good, of course, at Duff's. And I'm sure it's fine at the Anchor Bar. I'm just being a snob, but yeah, I like the classic buffalo wing. But as far as dry rub goes, I think just like the Louisiana, spiced dry rub, like that kind of thing. Very good. Anyway.
Completely unrelated to the topic of this episode.
Yeah. Important that we had to talk about. So I guess to get right into it, since this movie occupied so much of your mind space and we're revisiting it now, what does this movie mean to you? What was your history with it? And like, how do you feel about it now?
So I discovered this movie, chances are probably through TV tropes, by looking at the page for Final Girls, and it mentioned something about how this movie does something completely different with the Final Girl archetype. So I watched the movie, and I of course really liked it. And then the more I learned about the history behind this movie, it's kind of like one of the cases of like a movie that got the short end of the stick in terms of its release. So this movie was shot in either 2005 or 2006 for like $700,000. A director right out of film school, and it premiered at the Fantastic Fest Film Festival. And reportedly, the audience was cheering and standing up and clapping by the end of the movie. So of course, the Weinsteins bought it for distribution, and they then their little subsidiary that bought it, I think went bankrupt or something. So this movie basically sat in a vault for like over 7 years.
Okay, wow.
And then it randomly got like a Blu-ray release in the UK in 2013, and then maybe an official one over here shortly after that.
Oh yeah, I'm just looking at it now because when I saw, I was like, oh, this movie. I looked at the wiki page for a second. It said 2006. I just assumed like, okay, yeah, it came out in 2006. Makes sense. There was some like the cell phones they were using, and I saw a guy with a Game Boy Advance at one point.
Yeah.
It made sense that it was 2006, but then I see it's like, oh, it actually was distributed in the U.S. in 2013. Like, that is pretty crazy. 7 years afterwards.
I've always felt like if this movie was able to come out when it was meant to, it would have been huge. Because I think if you compare it to other horror movies of the time, it would have been something completely different. Because in 2005 and 6, you were getting like a lot of like the J-horror remakes, or like Final Destination 3.
Saw.
Yeah. And so something like this taking... Like, this movie is like a mixture of Texas Chainsaw Massacre with like Dazed and Confused, sort of.
That's a good way to describe it. With like And I thought of this, but then I was like, I don't know if it was intentional or anything, but I saw when I was looking on Wikipedia that there's like that Wiki cites the Columbine massacre, and like compares
Oh
the
yeah,
two antagonists of the movie, like or the two
that,
villains of
that
the
was
movie,
deliberate.
to because like I was thinking of that it's like okay that's the type of archetype that they're kind of going for, and
Hmm.
this is like kind of right before that kind of school shooting, evil crazy guys become a lot more mainstream, unfortunately, like towards
Yeah.
the end of the 2000s and into the 2010s.
Hmm.
So yeah, I feel like you're right that this era was just so much like it was not just there was all the J horror stuff, but there was just a lot of remakes in general,
Hmm.
and it felt like there wasn't a lot of original stuff going on as far as like new slasher series. The closest that we had around this time was like I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is a much worse movie than this. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Hmm.
like there's a like I would say this kind of does what maybe that wanted to do, in the sense that it's like we're kind of trying to tell a more grounded story with teenagers and everything that's in the slasher mold,
Hmm.
but in this case it's like really really grounded, like you said. It's like Dazed and Confused or something,
Yeah.
it's like and then I don't know, they tackle a sort of like character or horror that had yet to be really tapped into that much to this point.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, we'll talk about that as we're
mhm.
going. But
Yeah. So we'll also, I guess a little bit of housekeeping. We're just not going to talk about any of the real world Amber Heard stuff in this episode.
that's true.
It's not our business.
Because that really, I was like, oh my god, Amber Heard is in this movie
Hmm.
when I saw her. I'm like, yep, I'm going to, you know, let us
But
not talk about that. So,
she is perfect for this character. I got it. This is like
mhm.
I've seen her in a few things. This is for sure like the role that she's like shines in, and it's her first lead role.
Yeah,
Um, but
there's
yes.
yeah, she is absurdly beautiful in this movie. I will
Hmm.
say, as a straight guy, I think that this is good that I feel this way though. There were some scenes where it was like the girls in the locker room that made me very uncomfortable, because I'm like, even if I know the actors are adults,
Yeah.
changing just the idea of peeping on teenage girls just like skeeves
Snort,
me out. I'm not saying
snorting
that
Adderall in the
that's
bathroom.
yeah, I'm not
Hmm.
saying that that's the movie's fault. Like obviously they're trying to create a certain feeling and
Yeah.
mood and everything, but like
It's kind of about that too. A lot of the
yeah.
theming is about like girls' body image issues and how they look at each other and
Hmm.
themselves.
Yeah, and like God, like the endless parade of guys that show up to be like, I'm not like other guys, you
Hmm.
know, to be like, I'm different from, this previous guy or whatever.
Yeah.
The name of the movie is pretty on the nose
Hmm.
about that, but like it makes perfect sense in it, and it's like a good, very memorable name. So yeah, I will
Yeah.
say, like, before we get into talking about
Just
it,
good.
that like I did really enjoy the movie, and I think by the end everything kind of like felt complete. Like I kind of like maybe not guessed, maybe I just knew from like you telling me at some point far in the past,
It's
but
possible.
like I had started to put together like what the overall thing of the movie was going to be,
Hmm.
um from like as soon as they got to the weird plantation house, and no, I know it's a ranch, it's not, but whatever, it
It
looks
does
like
not look like a farmhouse though. It's like this
yeah.
big, like weird looking house.
Yeah, it looks like a plantation house, which
Hmm.
would, I mean, it's filmed in Texas, so it would make sense that it is one, but
Apparently,
it was like,
the
mhm.
cast like and crew slept there during filming, and they all said that the place was haunted. So it probably
Yeah,
was.
yeah, there's some bad juju coming from
Hmm.
that place, but yeah. So, how about you? What is your thoughts about it? Like after so many years, like coming back to it, you have any like new appreciation for it or new like opinions
I
on it.
I still really love the movie. I feel like I remember when I was super into it in the Tumblr days.
Oh, excuse me.
I feel like part of me wanted to try and like see a silver lining to Mandy and what she does,
Oh,
but
excuse me.
now watching
Mm-hmm.
this and being like, oh no, she is just a sociopath, and
Mm-hmm.
I watching it with that lens, I found a new kind of enjoyment for the movie instead of me trying to figure out some kind of way to make her still the protagonist, which she kind of, which she is, but
Mm.
we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The reading that I got from it, or like the feeling that I got like watching it, is that she's somebody who feels very detached from, like, she does have like these sociopathic tendencies. Like, she feels detached from like normal people. She's not like other girls, but not in the sense of like, oh, she's smarter, she's bright, she isn't a bimbo, etc.
yeah,
It's that she lacks this certain level of like empathy or passion or whatever for your fellow person, and then desperately like wants to force herself to feel something.
yeah,
And that's why she puts herself in these like kind of these situations with these very douchey teenage people, the very beginning of the movie with the pool party,
yeah.
and then like
I can't
this
wait to talk
main
about
plot of the movie.
that. Hmm.
um and yeah, so it's less that she's like, I'm gonna fucking kill everybody or whatever, and more like, why don't I feel anything? Like, why don't I care? Like that kind of
Yeah,
sociopath. It being, like trying and doing things to try to like force an emotion or force a connection or something like that.
because we really aren't ever like we're never in Mandy's head. Like
Mm-hmm.
like the whole movie is basically seeing how the other characters feel and react around her.
Yeah.
And but kind of similar to what you were talking about. I think a lot of the her decisions that she makes. I think a lot of it comes from the fact that as they say in the beginning, she recently blossomed like over the summer, and before that,
Mm-hmm.
she was like plain, I guess. And I think
Yeah.
presumably people were not treating her the way that she's being treated now that she's hot. So she
Mm-hmm.
probably was like has seen the worst of people, and now that she is attractive and sees how differently people treat her because of it, I feel like that like is part of that disconnect for her.
Yeah. There's some part of her that still feels like disconnect, and then her friend Emmett, who becomes a major character,
Hmm.
is like, he's somebody who is positioned in this like, oh, you're the only one who understands me.
Yeah.
But then there kind of becomes sort of a like, yeah, there's a distrust even there. There's kind of like complicated feelings even
Hmm.
there, by the end. So why don't
Yeah.
we stop beating around the bush and just
Jump
get
into
right
it.
into the
Yeah.
movie? Yeah.
So I love the opening of this movie. It's not
Mm-hmm.
even it's one of my favorite horror movie like cold opens, and it's not even like oh it's a big scare sequence. It's just this fucked up little thing that happens, and it perfectly sets up like the tone and the style and the characters. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, so we meet Mandy and Emmett. Mandy is introduced with her breasts first, and then it pans up to her face
Mm-hmm.
as we see her like the people staring at her in the hallway. Yeah, her and Emma get invited to Dylan's pool party. Dylan is at the very limit of an actor that could be playing a high schooler. I gotta say that.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, I saw. At first I was like,
Is that a
is this
teacher?
like somebody's college student or coming to high school to like pick up? Like, who is this? And
Did he
then,
graduate last year? He's still hanging around.
yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Hmm. Yeah, so they go to this pool party, and uh, Emmett and Dylan have like conflict with each other, and eventually Emmett ends up on the roof, and Dylan comes up to try to get him off the roof. Dylan has a bottle of, I probably think red wine with him. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Emmett basically manipulates Dylan into jumping off the roof into the pool, but he is short and like just smashes his head on the sidewalk. It happens off screen, but there's a
Yeah.
really good sound to accompany it. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
it's just I don't know, something about that is so fucked up because it's like a grounded, believable injury that could happen to a kid, you know?
Yeah, and for reasons that could be like construed as, oh, this was an accident, he didn't
Yeah.
expect this to happen, or could be like, oh, this there's something wrong with this kid that he like urged this drunk, he got this guy drunk, urged him,
Hmm.
etc., and then he did this extremely dangerous thing and killed himself. um
Yeah.
and yeah, so it like puts immediately this weird vibe onto this
Unease.
character, and then
Hmm.
also onto Mandy, because she doesn't seem to be reacting
Yeah, she's just kind of
really
looking at him
extremely,
and. Hmm.
yeah, to this situation. She's just kind of like, for whatever reason, she has some understanding between him and her, of like the situation of like, is this over the line? I don't know,
And
yeah.
I, I think I also think this moment is like the first time that she sees like really how far and she can get people to do things for her.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. That's
mhm.
the um I don't want to be too like in my own up my own ass with any literary references.
Uh-huh.
But there's the book East of Eden by
Hmm.
John Steinbeck, and the maybe not the villain of the book, but like an incredibly important character, Kathy Ames, is sort of like the book is obviously a very biblical style book, even though it's about reality. Um,
Hmm.
you know, and she kind of like is that like woman that throws a wrench into things kind of character archetype, you could say. But I always found her a very fascinating character ever since I read the book last year.
Hmm.
In that like she is that same archetype of like charismatic young girl, but has the ability to like get people to do things for her, but has like no regard or anything for like their fellow man, has like sort of a lack
So
of empathy and everything, that there's sort of like a something in her where she's like very opportunistic, and she's like she would be a serial killer in any other situation, but because she's able to convince other people to do these like messed up things for her, then
I
uh,
feel like
she's
that
able to get away with it.
mhm. All of those things also apply to Kathy, the comic strip character, as well.
Yeah,
Hmm.
but yeah. So anybody out there that's like want to read a good
Hmm.
book, check out that John Steinbeck guy. He does some good stuff. Mice and Men, good
Hmm.
times. They, I
But not
mean,
really. Not
sad,
it's not
sad
not
book.
not a good time. But
Very sad book, but
hmm.
you know. But anyway, I just want to bring that up because like I just like that archetype of character, because usually when um
Fucking
like
Julia
fit
from
the,
last episode.
yeah, yeah, the
Hmm.
the thing with like these types of characters, or like they usually are treated as like, oh, they're these evil women, these evil wenches, whatever, that are like manipulating and doing things. But with East of Eden and with this, it seems very sympathetic towards the character.
Hmm.
And that's, I guess that's maybe what you were trying to key into when you were younger, is that there is like sympathy towards this type of person, even if they're not saying like this is good, she was a good person. It's
Uh-huh.
being like, oh, there's some kind of like understanding or desire to reach across the aisle and
Hmm.
like let this person's experience be known, and that it's like a tragedy that they continue to act as
Yeah.
they were like in East of Eden. The Kathy grows up to be like a miserable fucking 60-year-old lady, like
Hmm.
by the end of the book. So, but yeah, I just wanted
That
to.
that also that does remind me a lot of. I know you haven't seen them, but like the X trilogy, the Mia Goth movies that came out the last couple years.
Mm-hmm.
Um, those lean very much into that. And this movie also reminded me like a lot of those movies.
Yeah.
I could even go as far as to say it's ahead of its time. Or,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah. So anyway, so the movie then jumps forward 9 months later after Dylan's death. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I do love the scene where like Mandy's running track, Emmett's right behind her, Red's talking about his party, the other girl characters are like cheerleading. It's like a cross section of like everything that is happening at a high school. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
like those three things were all never like there was never track and cheerleading and football practice and like they were never all happening at once.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, so she's fallen into this new friend group. How she feels about all of them. Uh, she doesn't really seem to like many of them except for like Chloe and maybe Red.
Mm-hmm.
She seems kind of like over the other ones.
Mm-hmm.
Um, where is it? Okay, yes, but that brings us to what I had mentioned earlier is that every character is like using Mandy or has their own perspective of Mandy, and that's kind of what the movie's about. Like
Yeah.
Jake, he just wants to have sex with her, just as like for another
Mm-hmm.
notch in his belt. Um,
Yeah.
Bird, he also wants to have sex with her, but he wants to go about it in a more kind of chivalrous way. But it still ultimately
Yes.
is just for sex. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Red tells his friends that he wants to have sex with Mandy, and he tells her that he loves her, but I really don't think that he does. He thinks
Yeah.
she's hot, but as we see throughout
Mm-hmm.
the movie, he's really using her coming to this party as a way to get other people to come to his ranch. I think he's in love with Chloe for sure. Um,
Yeah.
and
And
then
he's like a lonely or guy because like that's what the impression that you get is that he probably nobody would have cared or wanted to come if it wasn't like, oh, she's coming and she's cool, so therefore we must
yeah,
go, like attaching to that. And
hmm
uh whereas like, yeah, he's not as he's just kind of like a loser, like
yeah,
like the traditional like teenage dirtbag,
hmm
etc. Like stoner guy. Nothing wrong with that person. Those are all the people I was friends with in high
hmm
school and continue to be in my 30s.
yeah. Hello.
But yeah, but like that is the type of person that he is compared to somebody like Jake, who is like, yeah, that huge douchebag.
hmm
I was really pissed off later in the movie when like he gets a blowjob and then the other girl is like, oh, so you're gonna go down on
Oh
me?
yeah.
It's like, no. I'm like, what the kill this guy right now? Like, what the
hmm
this bad etiquette.
Yeah. Totally would have been such a fun character to play. Uh,
Mm. Yeah.
and then there's Chloe and Marlon who um, they both compare themselves to Mandy, and they also snipe at each other a lot, and they are
Mm.
both like highly insecure and have like body image
Yeah.
issues. Marlon, for some reason, thinks that she's fat when she is not fat at all in the slightest.
Yeah.
It is just because of fucking Chloe. Meanwhile,
Mm-hmm.
Chloe is insecure about her jungle bush down there.
Uh-huh.
Um, um, and she wears we
Yeah,
see
there's a mm-hmm.
she wears like fake like latex like breast implants that you can take out on and
Yeah.
off. Mm,
Mm-hmm. The padding her bra to
yeah.
make her breasts look bigger. I'll say that it was very funny that she just starts taking scissors to her bush at one point in the movie. Like she, goes into the bathroom and then has scissors and is like trimming it
Yeah.
that way. And
You
like,
don't
what?
use those kind
Not
of
use?
scissors.
Yeah. There's just like speaking. I did trim my beard last
hmm
night, so
Oh,
which is a
nice.
lot of hair.
hmm
Now I didn't cut it off, but it's just like made it a lot shorter
Yeah.
because it was very bushy last night. And then, but that was just making me think like, just use the freaking clippers. Yeah, just go to town.
Was
Just like and
this
then
would have
use
been
it.
at the farmhouse then? Yeah.
Sure. Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, maybe they don't have.
It's a lot of
Well,
things
I
to get
imagine
behind.
that. Yeah, I don't know. I imagine that they would have like beard trimmer, that kind of thing going on
hmm
at the farmhouse if you're like a rugged rancher guy. But I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe they just have the people that like shave that only use like the razor blades to shave like that. Those people are stronger than me.
Oh
So
yeah, I could never.
yeah.
Um,
But anyway,
yeah. So
they
meanwhile, oh, go ahead.
no, I was going to continue with the plot synopsis.
Oh yeah,
So you continue, please.
sure. So while the kids are all running the track, Inmate has like a journal that he's trying to get Mandy to read, and we see his shirt is a natural selection shirt, which
Uh huh.
that's like a direct parallel with like the Columbine shooters. I think they wore
Mm,
something like that. Um,
yeah.
I think that this movie handles that type of subject matter. It toes the line just enough to where it can depict things like that, but without it feeling like tasteless or exploitative. I think.
Mm.
Um,
Oh yeah. I don't. I think taking that idea and moving it to the country and doing it in a slasher like or Texas Chainsaw type of setting,
mhm.
like that changes the dynamic and makes it so that it's like yeah, I don't know. It puts it in a. It takes something that's like new and scary and hard to reckon with, and puts it into a familiar framework. So I think that it's a lot easier to deal with. Now I do.
Yeah.
I think that we can have horror movies or drama movies or whatever that are about like shootings and things like that. But like, I understand that it is a sensitive subject matter, and maybe this, again, it was at this time where it was kind of a new thing that
Hmm.
wasn't happening that often. Now it's like much worse, um, which
Yeah.
sucks.
Like
But
the
but now people are sort of desensitized to it. I guess is what I'm saying. So like, if somebody did something like that now, people would just be like, "Oh yeah, they're doing this thing based on reality," you know.
yeah, the
So
example I want to cite is the 2022 Netflix Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie. It
okay,
it's a very political movie for some fucking reason. Um,
mm-hmm.
and they decided that the main character's backstory would be that she was like a school shooting survivor, and
Right,
they have like a couple like two or three shot like flashbacks of her like laying in a hallway with a bunch of bodies around her.
mm-hmm.
And that like she has a fear of guns and it ties into the plot. It feels completely tacked on and doesn't like add anything to the
Yeah,
movie. Whereas I feel like the usage here, it just kind of I don't know it flavors the
like that.
material. If you,
That's that. Yeah, I mean, it's about it.
yeah,
Whereas like that is just like that's just set dressing. That's just whatever. Like
mhm,
that feels exploitative, and because it's just like whatever. It doesn't really actually you know have anything to do with the movie as it is. It's just kind
yeah,
of like a ridiculous tragedy that somebody survived a school shooting and then now they're
running from
going through
Leatherface.
another
Yeah,
yeah getting a different thing happening to them.
hmm
But with this, like I said, it is a school shooting in like a metaphorical sense. It's
yeah.
just being taken out in the way of a normal
Where it's
slasher
happening
movie.
and the scale
Yeah,
of it.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, but we're kind of getting ahead of ourselves here,
Yeah,
just because like we still need to like ease into
we're
the
not even at the ranch yet. you know,
yeah, yeah.
I do really like the little scene where they're all like like road tripping to the ranch. We see them like
Hmm.
stealing kegs out of a guy's truck. They pull up at this the cheapest, most poorly built fireworks stand in film history, with like
Yeah.
two. I think it was two of the producers or something who were like, "We want to be the guys in the fireworks stand."
Right.
Yeah, I watched the director's commentary like years ago. Um,
Hmm.
I also really want to talk about. I like the use of music in this movie a lot. They pick a lot of like licensed songs and like kind of uh, I put them on like these like there's like three or four like montage sequences that just use like a whole song, and I think they're all really good like scenes and also the songs are all like this movie's soundtrack is great.
Hmm. Uh oh, did you cut out?
Oh, I thought you could have.
No, no, I'm here. Don't worry. And we won't edit this out of the podcast. Don't worry, everybody. You'll get to hear awkward pauses. I'm not going to edit this out of the podcast. No. No, yeah. I just didn't have anything to say, I guess, about
the music.
I did, yeah. There's a few songs that, that I was like, oh, yeah, this is licensed music. It adds to the vibe and everything. Oh, one thing that I wanted to mention that is like kind of related to something that we've already talked about is that like Mandy Lane reminded me of the protagonist in It Follows, in that it's like it's a similar type of character, not 100%, but like the position that she's in as like somebody who until very recently saw themselves as like a child or a non-sexual being. Now they're being perceived that way by, the march of time. And, they're also absurdly beautiful, etc. But they are otherwise like kind of, pretty like normal, chill people. They don't have like a huge ego about themselves. Like you said, it's more like the other girls that kind of have like big egos about her or around her, which is could be considered like kind of a misogynistic portrayal of women, but like and I would agree to that, but I understand the point. It may not necessarily be like, oh, look at these stupid women arguing because they're jealous. They're just jealous of this other lady. It's more like, yeah, they're caught in this cycle of, like it affects everybody.
Competing with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. And like the misogyny, the internalized misogyny, like it affects them to some degree, as it does affect like these dumb guys. There's the moment with Red later in the movie where Chloe's talking to him, and she's like high or drunk or both.
They're both.
And it is like talking about, kind of these higher like concept things, bringing up probably due to being stoned. And he is the other kind of high where he's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. He just says that straight up, like, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about. And it's just like funny because it is kind of a stark portrayal of that different maturity level, that like, if the other girls aren't as mature as Mandy, then the boys are even more immature than those girls. They are basically just like still 12 mentally. Like they don't have any, they haven't had, they're like really trying and stretching their limbs to be seen as like grown up and cool adults and everything. And then that's why like a character like Garrett is like an actual man. It immediately like makes an impression. Garth, yeah.
Yeah.
Why did I say Garrett? I don't know. But
I think we're probably there about Garth's at Garth's intro.
In terms of,
yeah. Take a guess how I feel about Garth, Wyatt.
Yeah, I wonder.
I love this character so much.
Yeah.
Not just because he's a hunky cowboy ranch hand marine with a sad backstory. But yeah, he just like the presence of an adult figure in this group. Very rarely do you see like this kind of authority figure portrayed in terms of like, he's not like their babysitter. He's just a guy who happens to be there. He kind of half cares, but he really just wants to keep to himself and have the kids be quiet. But he has.
Well, he is like, he keeps to himself and everything, but he doesn't like hate the kids.
No.
It doesn't seem like he has any like antipathy towards them. He kind of understands being a kid or being stupid and everything, and obviously like he works for Red's dad, which is why he's on the ranch. And he wants to, at points in the movie, he's like, look, I'm going to call your dad because you guys are getting out of hand, but he never tries to be too much of a buzzkill, and he always tries to, he has that sort of like standoffish, like, look, this is none of my business, but I'm gonna get in trouble if things go too far. So just like keep it, to a certain level.
Yeah, and he even says like, I don't care like what you're drinking or whatever you're smoking.
Mm-hmm.
Like his hard line is his guns come into play. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no. So there's a moment where Mandy, they're playing Truth or Dare, and she gets Dare to go out and invite him in. And when she does, he says like, I would like to, but I can't. The Red's father wouldn't approve.
Mm-hmm.
It's yeah, I don't know. He's a really interesting character. The actor Anson Mount. This is the first thing I'd seen him in, and I've watched a lot of stuff with him afterwards because he's a really good actor.
Yeah,
Um,
he's Pike in
mhm.
Star Trek Discovery. Uh,
He's on
and
Hell on Wheels, which is a really good show.
mhm, yeah. Uh, I
Um,
completely forgot that Strange New Worlds existed. That there was
mhm.
like a whole,
I need to watch it. I would
a
probably like
spin,
it.
yeah, like a whole show about Pike and everything, and people are like, "Oh, it's actually a Star Trek show," unlike Discovery,
Hmm.
which I didn't hate Discovery. Well, the first season, look, I have complicated feelings about the show. First season, I appreciated what they did, and there's a lot of elements that I liked, but overall it's not what I like about Star Trek. And then the second season was just really bad, so I just didn't continue watching it past that point. So season 3 and 4, I have no idea what the hell happens in those. So I
How do you feel about
never
Picard?
went on my from what I've not seen Picard, but from what I've seen from like Mike Stacklasa and Rich Evans talking about it, it
Yeah.
seems pretty bad. So
Hmm.
that's the it does not seem. And me, I love TNG. I love Jean-Luc Picard and everything. I always get excited whenever Mike brings up a TNG reference. During an episode
Hmm.
of Half in the Bag or whatever. But yeah, it didn't look like it appealed to me just from like the first trailers and everything, and then just like watching those videos kind of like confirmed like, yeah,
And
it's not. Yeah.
and then the final season, they just say, "Fuck it, please watch us," and they brought back everybody they could. Like they literally get the entire
Yeah.
gang back together. Uh,
Oh yeah, yeah,
mhm.
yeah. It's all right. A
Anyway,
small Star Trek tangent there,
yeah.
but yeah, continue.
Let's talk about this film's color palette.
Yeah.
I really like the attention to detail with the filmmaking style, trying to like, because like this was shot on film. This was not like shot digitally and then
Hmm.
converted. This was shot on film for $700,000, so it was
Yeah.
expensive. Uh,
Yeah. It looked, even on YouTube, I was like, this looks good. Like this
mhm.
looks. There's some other movies or things that we've watched recent, like, oh, the fucking War of the Worlds thing that we watched recently.
Yeah.
Like that looks like it was clearly digital, crappy, low
Hmm.
budget, like maybe film grade, but it just looked so bad
Yeah.
because of the digital film. Whereas like shot on film, even like a movie like this, like such a low budget movie like this, just still looks good
Hmm.
when it's shot on film. Like that's just how good
Yeah.
film
There's these like
like holds
beautiful,
up. So
beautiful shots of the wide Texas landscape. The whole color
mm-hmm.
palette of the movie is yellows and golds. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you noticed this when they're like playing Truth or Dare, they are drinking out of yellow Solo cups that they had to like outsource and try and find because like
Mm-hmm.
the red Solo cups like just clashed with the visual design of the or the
Yeah,
production design.
that's really cool.
Hmm.
That's such a dorky element to like get hung up on, but I appreciate it. So
Yeah. Let's see, where are we at? Hang on. Okay, yeah. Um, so yeah, Jake and Marlon they head to the barn. I don't, did you can see Emmett standing right there in the shadows, like behind them when
hmm
they're like first talking, uh,
yeah,
which is a
which
good
is
touch because there's no like music sting to or anything to draw your attention to it.
yeah.
Um,
It's just like if you're paying attention, if you're being observant and looking at the background, then you'll
yeah.
notice like something is amiss. Like I said, this is kind of this is a little bit sad for Marlon because she really didn't deserve to be the first one to go.
Hmm.
um, especially because Jake is such a douche. That again, like you want,
Hmm.
like, come on, eat her
She's an
out. Just
underdog.
do
Yeah, she's an
do
underdog for
it.
sure. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
But yeah, and like
The death
it's a
is
very
really
cruel.
gross. Hmm.
Yeah, it's extremely cruel compared to. I guess shooting would have been too noisy because later I like that it actually is like a consideration and it's something that like affects the story and the characters
Hmm.
is shooting somebody with a gun like normally in a like in a lower movie that isn't as considerate somebody getting killed or shot or anything like the loudness of the gun would not really be remarked upon.
Yeah.
Like people because people have to not hear it in order to be surprised that there is a killer, they won't hear it. Whereas like in this, like he kills her with a gun, but without shooting the gun.
Yeah.
So it's
It's
yeah,
also
they just like
very
bashes it
phallic.
into her.
Hmm.
Yes, that's a very like that's how you know that he's a real freak is because he gives them their ironic death based on the act that he just witnessed.
Yeah. But
Um,
Marlon and Jake are both kind of taken out pretty quickly back to back. Like because Jake he storms off again because everybody's making fun of him for having a small dick.
mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah,
oh, and he does some bullshit where like he steals the fuses to like make the power go out. But
yeah,
he leaves the group and nobody wants to go look for him. So the rest of the group, the party actually seems kind of chill once the two of them are gone. Um,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah. I
this.
was thinking like it's both chill and also like I was kind of there with Mandy just because like I hate going to like parties with big groups of people. I'd rather be there with like I'd rather just hang out with friends that it's like three people,
Hmm.
four people maybe at most, but just very small groups like that.
Hmm.
And then just like being in that position where, oh, we kind of already committed to this. We're all the way out here. And these people are fucking boring and they're just like, or they're like annoying
Hmm.
and they're just, just like hanging around. And yeah, like that could be fun in its own way, just like chilling out. But these are emotionally stunted teenagers, so they have a hard time.
So they do whippets instead. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So they just get fucked up with the whipped cream,
Hmm.
which is great.
Yeah. So let's see. Hang on. Yeah. So Emmett and Chloe, or not Emmett and Chloe, Jesus. Red and Chloe seem to
Mm-hmm.
connect, and I
Yeah.
do think she likes him back. Their connection is really sweet, and I like that
Mm.
they both going into the party had completely different goals. Like Chloe wanted to fuck Jake and get back together with him. Red just wanted
Yeah.
people to come to his ranch and allegedly he wanted to have sex with Mandy. But yeah, I like that they
Mm.
kind of become a little pair. Um,
Yeah.
this is where Garth and Mandy kind of connect. They're talking over coffee. Um,
Mm-hmm.
this is like the first like genuine interaction Mandy gets to have with anybody the whole party where he's like,
Yeah.
you seem different from your friends. And she talks about, her parents dying when she was younger, which is another aspect of her character that's just noted on. It's there, but it's never like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, drawn attention to.
Yeah. It's
Uh,
not treated as like a huge modus operandi, by the
yeah,
end of the movie or anything. Like these are just like little elements that kind of build a character. They don't necessarily define
yeah,
a character.
because like she lives with her
So
aunt and cousin, and they both seem to be very loving and kind people from the little bit that we see
yeah,
of them.
yeah, and I like like similar with like Garth, where he is a little bit of a quiet loner, and but like Red is like, oh, he's got like PTSD, and they're like, well, I don't know, he could just be like a quiet guy. Is like, nah, he's really fucked up. So like he's just again like too stupid to understand that it's like, yeah, maybe he does have some elements of his personality that were affected by this tragedy that like really changed him,
Yeah,
but it could just be like, oh, these are part of him, but they're not like the full story. Uh,
Yeah.
and he just wants to paint with kind of a broad brush. And, we didn't talk about Bird dying.
Oh yeah.
He gets killed between like like before the morning.
Yeah.
And he like pretty horrific, getting his eyes cut,
Hmm.
and then stabbed to death, and then
Yeah, because
like that's kind of like the
he's the
mhm.
first one to actually see that it's Emmett doing what he's doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, and Emmett really is like he feels like the classic like shooter psychopath,
Tate from Murder
whatever.
House. Yeah.
Yeah, like that kind of character where he's not. I don't know. He's not like an entitled brat or anything, but he is just like he's clearly unhinged,
Hmm.
and he's not like a cool and calculated killer.
No, he's really
He is,
pathetic.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, and he is like there is like something disturbing and realistic about that kind of character compared to somebody who's just like this ultimate,
Hmm.
badass. Like I know I'm the brain genius. I'm so clever and calculating and whatever. Like he takes the time to plan for certain things, but like obviously, uh, you know,
Like he's written like a
eventually,
manifesto and everything.
yeah,
Hmm.
like he eventually is like found out about and everything. So
Yeah. Um, Kind of tying into Emmett, the central message with him is being that he is like literally no different from Jake in terms of
mhm.
what he is ultimately his goal with Mandy is. Um,
Yes, it becomes clear as the movie goes on that he like maybe at some point it was just an innocent friendship and they were the only people who understood each other, but then it became unbalanced where like he became just another boy. He became another one of the boys that love Mandy Lane,
yeah.
and became attracted to her and is like doing this for her. And I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you just want to like get into like the end of the movie so that we can like kind
Um,
of talk about that element,
yeah, because I do have a
like the
surprise prepared.
climax?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but yeah, so just a couple little things I want to touch on before we get to the ending. This
Yeah.
movie,
Well, the climax, like the
yeah, the
whole
climax.
ending
Hmm.
section. Yeah.
So the director wanted to make a horror movie where it starts out at night, but all the horror stuff happens in broad daylight at the end, which that is
Mm-hmm.
the case in this movie, and I think that's a really cool decision.
Yeah.
Because again, you get to see more of the gorgeous Texas landscape. Like that ranch and their
Mm-hmm.
property is so beautiful. Um,
Yeah. It reminds me of the land. Uh, do you remember? Do you
of
remember
course,
the land?
of course, I do.
Yeah.
Hmm.
That's where my dad used to have like 35 acres. Like it wasn't even that much, but it was like
Hmm.
still a pretty good amount of like area out there to go camping and to do whatever.
Yeah.
And we had like similar things where like me and some friends would go out there and drink and throw knives and do whatever.
Hmm.
This
God.
we're like 18, 19 or whatever at that point. And yeah, unfortunately, because around COVID, I want to say like 2021, my dad had to sell it in
Hmm.
order to like move. But then he moved out to the country, like him and my mom, moved out to the country and to live with my grandma and have that. And that's like a big farmhouse similar to this one in this movie.
Oh, nice.
Though not a plantation because we're in New York, so there wasn't
Yeah.
any that didn't exist. Maybe I don't know. People are
Hmm.
gonna correct me, but yeah, it's just a normal farmhouse, and yeah, they
Yeah.
have like their own freaking farm, like not farm, but like they have gardening and their
I mean,
dogs are all running about and all that. So
mhm.
very beautiful location and everything. But yeah, it just reminded me of the land,
Yeah.
basically,
And I mean,
of having
there's
that. Mhm.
historically there has never been anything wrong in an upstate New York farmhouse. I mean, Amityville, what?
Yeah, there's nothing. Upstate New York, we've had no issues as far as like problems with America. Like, sure, Joseph Smith came from here,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
we'll forgive him. They're all in Utah now, so we don't have to worry
Hmm.
about Like New York doesn't get to carry that crime. So
But one other little detail I want to touch on before we get into the climax is there's a moment where all of a sudden it's like in the morning after like Garth has like woken people up and is making coffee. Like he hears a
mhm.
radio on upstairs, and he goes upstairs and is like staring at the radio like what the fuck is it's a guy talking over the radio, and then he turns the radio off,
Mhm.
and then he goes downstairs quickly, and he instantly knows that something's wrong, and he's like we should get out of here. uh,
Yeah.
did that person talking sound vaguely familiar to you at all?
No. What was it?
That was Jim Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
See, I'm not super familiar with Jonestown. Like,
Mm-mm.
well, I am familiar with the story of it, but just like the actual events, like that true crime element, or like
Okay.
watching clips of it or whatever. Like, I have not seen too much. If it was like Heaven's Gate or something, I would have been like, oh, that's
Oh.
dope.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Anyway.
like that definitely makes it so it makes total sense why he's like, all right, this is fucked up. What's going on here? There's
Yeah.
some psycho is about.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. So as soon as they try to leave, Garth is shot through the shoulder, and the group is
mhm,
splintered. Red and Chloe are chased away. Mandy stays behind with Garth. Uh,
mhm.
let's see. Yeah. Red is shot mid kiss while kissing Chloe after they get to her car, because they had set up earlier that her car is parked at the very end of the property because she can't drive over the
Yeah.
cattle thing, which was
Mhm.
very funny. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but yeah, he's shot
The
mid kiss. It's really sad.
horrific.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and like,
It's like it is very like him like on the ground crying and
mm-hmm,
everything like that.
mm-hmm,
I'm like, dear fucking God. Like it's just like yeah, it's really sad. And then obviously like it's just sad in general because they're seeing these characters that are like kind of dumb but like innocent.
mm-hmm.
Like yeah, they've said stupid things and have like acted mean or whatever towards one another, but that doesn't
But,
mean they deserve to die. Like
yeah,
that's just like yeah,
there's
they're just
kids.
idiot teenagers.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's just and then yes, Chloe gets chased down with the car,
mm-hmm.
um,
Right into
which
the
is
arms of
like
Mandy.
yeah.
And that's
And
yeah.
mhm. Go ahead.
That's the big reveal. She runs into Mandy's arms, and Mandy stabs her, and that's the reveal. That she's been in on it the whole time. This is her and Emmett's
Yeah.
plan.
Hmm.
That was the notebook that he was trying to show her when they were running track.
Hmm.
Is their manifesto? They have a suicide
Yeah.
pact, not pack. Um,
Hmm.
um, I laughed at the line delivery when Emmett's like, "Can you shoot me in the heart and not my face? Because my mom would want to have an open casket."
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
Just completely. Like has no I don't know, no self awareness or anything
Yeah.
about like everything that just went down. And I was like, at first, I was like, oh my God, are they gonna just kill themselves and then the movie's gonna be over? But
Hmm.
like, I feel like it was a perfect move personality wise for Mandy to reject it like at the last moment and then to call for Garth to help. And then for like that whole final altercation to break out. Gotta say, for me, I've talked about this before, that like filth and dead animals
Yeah.
is very disgusting to me. So her
Uh-huh.
falling into like that ditch with all the like carcasses, I'd be like,
Cattle.
this is more, yeah, this is
Hmm.
like more nightmarish to me than all of my friends dying. Like I would rather all my friends die than being put into this location even for like 30 seconds. Like
Jesus Christ.
yeah, because
Hmm.
it's just so disgusting, and she gets like covered in dirt, and it's just like it's such a knockdown, drag out, like
Hmm.
fucking like really nasty ending where
Yeah.
it isn't like cool or glorious or anything. It's just like she really just beats him to death with the log with the like machete stabbed through it. So
Yeah, and
yeah,
he's crying and screaming, "Die with me!" Like while she's doing it.
yeah,
It makes you feel sick. Like
yeah.
it's really gross. But
Mm-hmm.
she heads back to the farmhouse, and Garth goes through a lot. He gets shot in the shoulder. Then I think he gets stabbed, and then Mandy
Yeah, he gets
pushes
stabbed
him
in the
in
chest
off, and
or
then
the
Garth
side.
stabs him in the side. Yeah. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so they drive away. The song playing is "Sealed with a Kiss" by Bobby Vinton. I parodied this scene in one of the commentary movies.
Right.
Yeah, with me and Daryl driving.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and
Mm-hmm.
there's a moment right before them because like the last 30 seconds of the movie is like just a quick flashback of the group and Mandy like kind of watching them. But
Yeah.
right before that, you there's a shot of Garth, and I swear you can see like the moment in his eyes where he realizes that something does not add up, and then it
Yeah.
cuts, um,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a flashback, and it's like once the camera goes to Mandy, it freeze frames and goes to red, and it's like she's watching her prey, you know.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah.
But that's the
It's a
movie.
yeah.
Mhm.
It's like we kind of already discussed it like going through it, but like yeah, her like that final defiance is just like it's both like you totally understand it, and it like makes perfect sense for her character.
Yeah.
That she's the ultimate manipulator. That she was able to like manipulate this guy to do all of this shit for her, and then at the end of the day, he was convinced to like fully kill himself and like fully take the blame for it, and then
Hmm.
she could get away with it completely scot free. But yeah, there's just like this little bit of inkling that like Garth might know,
Hmm.
but he, like otherwise is like, well, you saved me, so
Yeah.
thank you.
He's
for,
potential like eyewitness to corroborate her story, I guess. Um,
yeah,
but
and yeah,
this has always been one of the movies, and this is my surprise for you, Wyatt. This has always been
mm,
one of the movies where I'm like, they will never ever make a sequel in a million years. But I've always wanted to know
okay,
like what happened to the characters. So
yeah,
I decided because last week you read the Hellbound Heart, so I wanted to give myself a little project.
okay,
So I
mm.
have written a rough 3-act outline for a sequel to this movie that I am going to
All right,
present to you.
awesome. Here we
Yes.
go.
All right. So I have two ideas for the title. It could either
Mm-hmm.
be All the Boys Still Love Mandy Lane or
Mm-hmm.
Whatever Happened to Mandy Lane. Kind of like Whatever
Okay,
Happened to Baby Jane.
yeah,
Uh, anyway,
that's pretty
so
good.
my idea it would be it would do the the big thing now, the horror sequel set years after the original. So we're 20 years after the rampage at Red's farmhouse. Mandy would
Mm-hmm.
now be in her mid 30s. She's enjoyed fame and success. She's written her memoirs, gone on talk shows, and has become like a minor celebrity.
Mm-hmm.
Every interview, every line of her book, save for details that Garth was present for, I think all of it would just be a complete fabrication.
Yeah,
Uh, she would like present. She's like presented herself as like a totally innocent and uninvolved with Emmett. And with the
yeah,
anniversary approaching, she goes on a popular true crime podcast. Um, a lot of these details aren't fully fleshed out, but it's just a rough outline. But you'll see. Um,
yeah, yeah.
she has a chance encounter that reunites her with her fellow survivor Garth, who is now in his mid 50s and walking with a limp. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in the years after the events of this movie, I think they would have drifted apart and Garth would not have remained in Mandy's life. I think Mandy
Yeah.
would have been pursuing fame and Garth would have just wanted to move on from the whole thing and would see Mandy as a reminder. Because
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking more about, like, I don't know, Garth's internal logic when I was trying to come up with, and I was like, if he's living on that property, he probably knows Red's parents really well, and he probably has seen Red grow up. So he would have like seen the parents' reaction to their son dying while he was supposed to be, keeping an eye on them. So I think it would have
Yeah.
really like affected Garth. Um,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, I've picked names for some of the characters, just as their placeholder names, whatever. So meanwhile, Thomas is a true crime like fanatic, starts planning to follow in Emmett's footsteps at the recently announced memorial celebration being held at the farmhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And he emails Mandy incessantly. He then tries to sneak onto the property of the farmhouse from the first movie and is caught by the current ranch hand because presumably Red's family sold the farm to new owners.
Mm-hmm.
He murders the ranch hand and feeds his body to the cattle and the pigs that are there.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
End of Act 1. We're now into Act 2.
Okay.
Uh, Garth invites Mandy over for dinner at the request of his daughter, Carrie, who is a big fan
Mm-hmm.
of the podcast and listens to it like against his wishes. And it's like the only way she's ever gotten to like hear about what happened to her dad.
Yeah.
Um, Garth also has a son. So Carrie, his daughter, is 17. The son Troy would be 14, and he has a wife. I picked the name Cheryl. Like I think Garth would have
Mm-hmm.
settled down and
Sure.
has like a happy family.
Yeah.
Um, so Troy would be more of like an introverted slacker. Uh, Mandy initially hoped that reuniting with Garth would be her chance to spark up a relationship with him, but seeing that he has like a happy family is like the thing that kind of like tips her over the edge.
Mm-hmm.
And she then decides to respond to the Thomas, the true crime guy who had been like emailing her.
Mm-hmm.
So I want kind of less slasher. I was more thinking movies like Cape Fear or Gone Girl
Right. Yeah.
or The Stepfather. So I want a lot of the horror to be Mandy slowly manipulating her way into Garth's family, like
Right.
like
Yeah.
being like a cool older sister to the kids and being a best friend to the wife.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Mandy could see Carrie as like a younger version of herself and would be both resentful and jealous, but she could also see her as a possible accomplice or someone who could like she could take under her wing. And
Yeah.
Carrie is more than happy to begin like dressing like Mandy and acting like her a little bit. Um,
Mm-hmm.
One night at a pool party, Troy slips and breaks his leg when attempting to jump off of a patio into the pool. And
Mm-hmm.
when he's asked where he got the idea to do so, he refuses to give an answer. Um,
Yeah.
the party is broken up by police who say that some of their classmates have been found murdered a few miles away, and their bodies displayed at a nearby cattle ranch.
Okay.
Not the same one that Red's family owned. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the next day, uh, Carrie and Troy, who would be in a leg cast and with crutches for the rest of the movie, still decide, and their group of friends. I don't know, just give them 3 friends. They got to get killed off.
Right. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
the next day, they decide to still sneak out and attend the memorial at Red's old ranch. And Garth's suspicion of Mandy would reach a boiling point, and he has anonymously mailed letters from Emmett's journal, which chronicles both of their involvement.
Mm.
He would realize his family's in danger, and he would race back to the ranch. Um, that's the end of Act 2. Start of Act 3, we would
Yeah.
see Thomas's
Mm.
perspective a little bit, beginning a few months ago. He's been working with Mandy the whole time, and she's like been grooming him to be a new Emmett so she can get the public eye back on her.
Yeah.
And the moment she came up with this plan was when she found out that Garth has moved on and is living a happy life without her. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
so after the big
It's kind
cell,
of. Yeah. Go
God,
ahead. No. Well, I was just gonna say the idea of her like moving from one accomplice to the next it reminds me of Let the Right One In, which I
oh
mean we
yeah,
might talk about at
we
some
should.
point, but
Hmm.
but um but
But
yeah, like just the idea of like, oh, here's this person that we're seeing in kind of a sympathetic,
mhm.
sort of idealized light, but then by the end it's kind of, you sort of fully realize that like, oh, this is a cycle that she's been repeating for her
Yeah,
thousands of years or whatever, like hundreds of years,
yeah,
because
mhm,
vampire.
mhm.
But yeah.
But
Just
anyway.
thought of that. I thought of that similarity. But
Mhm.
continue, please.
But yeah, so after the podcast celebration, the host would be murdered by Thomas in their vans while they're getting ready to leave. The rest of the party goers would leave except for Garth's kids and their friends. The friends are picked off one by Thomas. I don't have that ironed out yet.
Mm-hmm.
uh,
Mm-hmm.
so then it's down to just Carrie and Troy, and Mandy would reveal, herself to them, and Mandy and Thomas would chase after Garth's kids. Uh, Troy is chased by Thomas, but it's easy pickings because he's in a cast and crutches, and he's a sitting duck. Meanwhile, Mandy is chasing after Carrie. Just before Troy is about to be killed, he's rescued by Garth, and they both fight and kill Troy, or Thomas. I think Garth would maybe beat him with his cane, and Troy could trip him with his crutches, and that makes him fall and get impaled on some farm equipment. I think it would be kind of cool. Meanwhile, Mandy and Carrie, Carrie has been chased up to the roof, and they have an altercation. Garth and his son, are on the ground. The pair would fall off the roof together, and Carrie would land on top of Mandy, who is killed in the fall. And then the sun's rising, Garth and his kids are leaving, but we're still left with the lingering question of how much influence Mandy was able to have over them, and if they are going to, be okay, or are they going to maybe become like her. And that's what I got.
All right. There you go. All the Hollywood execs, get on this shit.
We can get both. We can get Anson Mount, and we can get Amber Heard back.
Let's get her back, everybody. But yeah, I like that kind of stuff. I love writing. I've written outlines for sequels to things that I've wanted. Extremely nerdy, but also very freeing to do so.
Yeah, it was fun.
But yeah, that's our episode on All the Boys Love Mandy Lane. So
what are we watching next?
I guess I have to reveal that. I think it's that time of year where things are getting a little bit spooky. No, we're not watching Halloween. We're watching Nosferatu, the 2024 Robert Eggers.
Okay.
My
Halloween costume.
I wanted to do a classic, horror monster, that kind of a monster movie thing for. And then I figured it would be fun if we watched both the original, that original, whatever, Nosferatu, and then this one as well. And we had a short section at the beginning talking about that one and then watching this movie. So, and because we watched 2 movies before with Hellraiser, I figure it shouldn't be too much of a hassle. You can probably, I'm sure Nosferatu is on YouTube or some shit.
It's on Tubi, I think.
Yeah. but yeah, that's my choice.
Awesome. So Nosferatu double penetration.
Yeah, oh yeah, baby. But yeah, so Cody, why don't you tell everybody where they can find you on the social medias?
You can find me here on this YouTube channel. It's just my name, Cody J. Briscoe. If you look that name up on IMDb, you can see the film projects that I've acted in. You can find me on Twitter. My name on there is Gay Boomhauer. And come hell or high water, up until the end of 2026, you can find me in most Six Flags parks.
Oh, yeah. But all right. Find me over on Twitter and Blue Sky, Wasp Ranger, WAZP Ranger. It's mostly stream of consciousness stuff. Probably at this point, I'm hyper fixated on I'm just going to throw it out there into the universe. Metroid Prime 4 trailer is going to happen in September. We're recording this at the beginning of September. Probably will be released sometime in October. So that's going to happen. That's what I'm going to be posting about if you check up on me. If not, I'll be very sad because it'll probably mean it's delayed until next year, and that would suck. But if not, yay. Anyway, go on over to the Patreon if you want to support me. $3, you get Cartoon Buffoons a week early, which is me and Morgan, our friend, going through all the Cartoon Network shows in order. And if you only got $1, that's fine. You still get Wow Cool Robot, which is me and my friend Wayne going through every single robot in existence and reviewing them. Those are 5 to 10 minute episodes, so it's easy to listen to a whole bunch of them. I'll probably edit together batches of them, 10 at a time at some point in the future, just so that people can just have something play in for a while instead of having to be like, all right, I'm done listening to this review of RoboCon, for 6 minutes and then going on to something else.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, that will do it for this horror hole. Join us next time. We're getting a little bit German expressionist with Nosferatu. See you there.
Peace out.